eBay has been around for over 10 years, yet there are many people out there that are still afraid to use it or just haven't had a chance to use eBay because of some bad experiences they've heard from other folks. Using the information I give you in today's tip will help make you a more successful eBayer and have less problems dealing with buyers and sellers through this fantastic website. So I did a quick search here on eBay. First thing I do to rule out particular buyers is look for exorbitant shipping costs. Right off the bat, I see that this particular eBayer is trying to charge $66 for shipping. As I look through the list, it appears that most of the shipping costs range from 10 to 20 bucks. And so I'm going to keep that as the average that I'm going to look for. Now, after I click on an auction, the first place you want to head to is where it says Meet the Seller. And under Meet the Seller, you're going to get some information that you need to pay attention to. Number one, how many total feedbacks do they have? This person has 1,400. How many of those are positive? My personal preference is to deal with people that have at least 98% positive and more. Now this person, I also like to see how long they've been on eBay. This person's been on eBay just over 3 years. Then you don't want to go just with the information there. You want to click on the number next to the seller. The details for this seller tell us that in the last 12 months, they've had almost 1,300 transactions and only one negative. That's a pretty good batting ratio. To the right of the general numbers, eBay, starting last May, added a more detailed description of seller ratings. And in this particular case, out of the 1,200 in the last 12 months, 900 folks left detailed information about the communication of the seller, shipping and handling charges, etc. And that's really important to keep an eye on. And then you also might want to peruse through and look at the type of feedback that was given. And if they've received too many negative feedbacks, there are plenty of eBay sellers out there. Move on and find another person. The next thing you want to do after you feel pretty comfortable with the seller is come down, look through the description, make sure that the description isn't too generic. If it's a generic description and they're using pictures that were taken from another website and you can tell that they look like they're too professional of photos and it doesn't look like the seller took them, I would probably move on to another auction. You can notice a difference between a photo like this. This photo was obviously taken from a website, probably even Palm's website, and not their own. So compare that photo to this photo and you can see the difference. This one also has a front and a back view, which is very nice, and I like the fact that you can see more information about the seller as we go down, or about the auction as we go down through the auction. So that's the second thing I look for, is the type of description the person is writing and whether or not it looks contrived or genuine. After looking at the seller's feedback, after reading some of the feedback and looking at the numbers, if I'm still comfortable with this particular auction and I've seen their description, I'm happy with that, but I have questions. Before you bid, you want to come back up to Meet the Seller area and then click Ask the Seller a Question. And it'll bring up a nice little form where you can type out the question. Don't be afraid to ask the gory details. Is there scratches on the screen? If you're buying a car, how much tread is there? You can ask for extra pictures. All those things are perfectly within your privy to ask, and you should ask them before you bid. Quick review. When you're buying on eBay, first thing you want to do is look for exorbitant shipping costs and quickly eliminate that from your list. Don't even bother looking at those auctions. Secondly, you want to look at the person's feedback, how long they've been on eBay, and more importantly, how many positives they have compared to their overall number. Then look at the description of the item, particularly looking at photos to see if they're photos that look like professional ones they've lifted from other websites, or if they are actual photos of the item. And then lastly, before bidding, go back up to the top of the auction under Meet the Seller. Ask the seller a question if you have questions that were not answered in the auction. Following these simple rules, you should have very, very few problems with eBay and have a very successful eBay career.